The conferences can be scary when it comes to your first conference, but they're really important. And so I was lucky enough to have European funding to fund a number of conferences per year, both in Ireland and internationally. But there are university funding schemes that every student can apply for if you wish to attend conferences. So it's important to remember that too. In terms of conferences, we see a lot of people say, "Oh, this is my first conference and I'm really nervous." In our research group, we don't do that, and that takes the power away from you as a researcher and as a presenter. We just go in, we do our presentation. If it's your first or your 10th, it doesn't matter. You go and you present your research. Afterwards at coffee, you can tell, colleagues that this is my first conference and, you've made it very welcoming or whatever. But not to give your power away and say, this is my first conference and I'm really nervous, because people are thinking about that and not necessarily thinking about, what you're presenting, which is more important. It's also important to ask questions if you're not clear about how to claim money back for attending the conference. They're quite expensive. You've got your conference fees, your travel, your accommodation, and your food and things like that. So it's important to understand there is university procedures for claiming conference expenses and travel expenses. They're quite complex, but there's a lot of help available, and also from other students as well who've gone through that process. Um, Anything else about conferences? Try to go into the conference room, during the day before your presentation or the day before, just see where you'll be presenting, have a look at the equipment. See, there's usually a technical person in the conference who'll be there to help you set everything up. Just, bring your presentation on your USB stick, maybe email it to yourself as well, just to be sure. And yeah, just there'll be people there to help you with the technical aspect of it. In terms of answering questions at conferences, you can also say that's a really interesting question. If you don't know the answer to it, that's an interesting question. We can have a chat about that at the break, or that's outside the remit of this study, but it's really interesting. I'll consider that in a further study. And you don't have to answer every question. And usually, questions are really nice. They're really helpful. Everyone's just really interested in your work and just wants to find out more about it.